Hey guys, Rich from Rich Mid Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well, and I hope you're all still really enjoying Star Wars Shatterpoint. I know we are here on the channel. We cannot get enough of it at the moment, but there are a couple of rules that have popped up in various places that people may not be aware about, because not all of them are in the rulebook, or not all of them are very clearly laid out in the rulebook. And this is a supplement to the episodes that I did covering the whole rulebook. There has been a couple of changes from there, and we'll go through some of them as well. But here are my 7 rules that you may not find in the Star Wars Shatterpoint rulebook. So this is one that I've covered in other places before, but I've never put down on a video. And whilst it is now in the rulebook, it does contradict what I put in one of my other videos, because when I made those episodes when the rulebook first came out, this wasn't a rule. But yes, you do now need a hunker token to be able to benefit from cover from terrain. All of those same rules still apply, so go ahead and watch the video. I'll link it down in the description below, or it'll be on the screen somewhere. So all those same rules do still apply, but you do now need a hunker token to be able to benefit from any sort of cover from terrain. There are a couple of exceptions to that. Cover from things like the Magna Guards don't count. It is just getting cover from terrain. Yes, guys, this is one that made me really sad, but active abilities can only be used during a unit's activation, even if it's from the combat tree. Now, that may seem pretty straightforward, but both myself and a couple of other people got very excited when we saw an addition to the Separatist Alliance faction, if you like. And it all starts out with one of my favourite characters in the game, Kalani Super Tactical Droid. And one of the things that makes Kalani so good is that tactical network. It does cost 1 force power, but if we look at his cold logic stance card, you can see there that after only 3 results, which is quite easy from Kalani, he gets to use it completely free. Now you'll be thinking, Rich, well, that's fine. You know, another battle droid character, they get to make a 5 dice attack, happy days. However, we did then get our hands, or at least we've seen the card, we haven't got our hands on them yet, is Kraken Super Tactical Droid. And as you can see, he has the exact same ability, Tactical Network. Now, because it is an active ability, but it's 2 different characters using it, I was thinking, okay, well, maybe because we're not using them at the same time, maybe this is going to be possible. And even better was the fact that, once again, if we look at Ruthless Logic, his stance card, we can see that after only three successes, he gets to use that ability for free. So my idea was, you go with either Kraken or Kalani, you make an attack, you trigger the Tactical Network ability from one of your characters, and because they both have the battle droid tag, this can trigger from one tactical droid into the next. You then roll your 5 dice, potentially up to 6 because of target, concentrate, or firepower. And basically you hope for the 3 results and you get to trigger it again. Alas, I got super close to doing it once, but then there was a question answered on the forum that basically said, nope, you cannot do it. So even if an active ability is given to you for free, if it is not that unit's activation, they cannot use that free active ability. Now, this is one that may seem like it doesn't really matter. Does it really matter that a unit can take more wounds or take more damage than its maximum durability or stamina? Well, actually, yes, it does. And let's take a look at our good friend, Lord Maul. So it's our activation. We're going to activate Lord Maul, but as you can see, he is in a bit of a state. He's already taken so he's already got 1 injured token. He's already got a wound token. So this is going to be his last hurrah. So we go to activate him, and as we know, we then flip our wounded token to an injured token. We get to remove all of that damage, and we get to choose one of our conditions to remove. And in this instance, we're going to remove that disarmed symbol, or that disarmed special condition, because we don't really care about taking the extra damage from strain. And as you'll see, this is actually going to help us out a little bit in our damage output. So Lord Maul has got Count Dooku, leader of the Separatist Alliance, in his sights. And the first thing that he's going to do is he's going to use his force speed. Now, that would normally cost 1 force to use, but because I am Lord Maul, I get to, basically with my sustained by rage, I get to spend my health instead. So I will take the 1 damage because that's how much force speed costs. But remember that because I have 2 injured tokens, the cost of abilities increases equal to the number of wounded or injured tokens that you have. So this will in fact cost him 3, so he'll take 3 damage in total. Now, because I've now made that advance, that strain is going to disappear, and I'm going to take an additional 3 damage, putting me on 6 damage in total. Now, I am still not quite close enough to Count Dooku to be able to attack him, and I actually do really want to give him that exposed token. So I'm going to use my second active ability, There is No Place to Run, which would normally cost 2, but once again, because I have 2 injured tokens on me, that's going to cost 4 in total, putting my total damage taken, up to 10. So I've finished all this, and then I count my dice. Now, depending on what stance you're in, will determine the number of dice, but I get to add an additional 9 dice into my attack pool. And why is that? You probably won't roll all crits, by the way. That'd be very, very lucky. It's because of his sustained by rage. For every 3 damage this unit has, characters in this unit add 1 die to their melee attack rolls. For each injured token this unit has, characters in this unit add 3 dice to their attack rolls. So I make my attack into Count Dooku, and as you can probably imagine, with all of those dice, with an exposed token on Dooku, he is going to go down and he is going to take a wound. But has Lord Maul been brave but foolish? Because before Maul is taken off the board, there is a window of opportunity for other reactive abilities to happen. We're still in the combat phase, so brave but foolish, Count Dooku, leader of the Separatist, gets to trigger his brave but foolish. So in step the B1 battle droids, and as you can see there, they've rolled their 5 dice and they've done 2 additional damage to Lord Maul, which takes him over his 11 stamina health pool. He's taken 12 damage in total, and he does now gain another wound token. So there's a couple of things that would trigger here. Count Dooku, the player with Count Dooku, would actually gain another momentum because they have wounded another character. However, something else triggers. Revenge. I must have revenge. When this unit is wounded by a melee attack, after the attack is resolved, 1 character in this unit may immediately dash and make a 5 dice attack, targeting the character that wounded it. Now, because Maul has taken a wound, even though it's over and above his normal durability, he is going to get to trigger this. And he's going to get to trigger it with all of his extra dice as well, once again because of that sustained by rage. So he's going to get 1 extra dice on top of the 9 that he was already rolling. So all of a sudden that 5 dice attack is going up to a 15 dice attack. And as you can probably imagine, that means that it is the end of the game for those B1 battle droids, at least for the moment, because Maul is going to cut through them like a knife through butter. This is just one example of where it really does matter when we're applying the damage. Even if the damage that we are applying in the damage pool exceeds the total amount of stamina that a character has, we still apply all of that damage on there, because there are some niche scenarios where it really, really does matter. Right now it's only Lord Maul, but I imagine as we get more characters in the game, this will affect other characters as well. Yes, this is one that was recently answered on the forums, and abilities happen in the order they are written. So let's have a look at an example and see what we mean by that. So let's take a look at General Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of, if not the best leader in the game, or primary, sorry, in the game right now. And he has an absolutely awesome innate ability called Patience. Basically, if you've got another card in reserve, another order card in reserve, you can put him in there for free, or even if he hasn't, you still get to put him in there. But when he does get put in reserve, this character, or one character in this unit, may heal, and jump. Now, in the past, we have taken it as that you can resolve any of those in whatever order you choose, but there has been an answer to a question on the forum that states that abilities have to be completed in the order they are written. So in this instance, Obi-Wan Kenobi would need to do the 3 heals first and then jump. So why is this important? What does it mean? Well, it means that if you are outside of range 2 of another character, and let's say you don't have any damage on yourself, you're not going to be able to use that jump first to get within range 2 and then do those 3 heals. So it definitely means you need to think about your character positioning a little bit more, and you need to think about the order in which you're going to do things. Yes, some abilities in this game require multiple triggering events to fully complete. And let's have a quick look at what I mean by that. So let's take a look at Ahsoka Tano Jedi No More. Well, we can see that she has her identity, which is effectively a reactive ability, but it never costs any force. And it states that when an enemy character wounds another allied unit, after the effect is resolved, one character in this unit may advance towards the enemy character that caused the effect. Then the character that moved may heal 3, or if that character is engaged with the enemy character, it may make a 5 dice melee attack targeting that enemy character. Now, what happens, however, if Ahsoka Tano has a pin? Well, it's really interesting because the pin stops that advance completely. And whilst the first part of Fierce Protector will get rid of the pin, we can see there that the stated requirements is then the character that moved. Now, because the pin stopped Ahsoka Tano moving completely, she can't complete the second half of that identity. So the tip here is, guys, have a look at characters' abilities, have a look at units, all the things that they can do, and work out what's going to be the best condition that you can put on them. Putting a pin on Ahsoka Tano completely shuts off her Fierce Protector. It means she can't heal, and it means that she doesn't get to make the attack, and because she's got the pin, she's not even going to be able to make that move. So if you're coming up against Ahsoka, make sure you slap a pin on her before you take down any of her allies. I'd like to take a minute to thank the brand new sponsor of the channel, Loyalist Games. Loyalist are a great local gaming store in West Yorkshire. They stock all of your favourite MCP and Shatterpoint products, plus a huge range of other gaming systems. They also have an awesome gaming space where weekly events are held. We've already been running our MCP League that's coming into its 4th season. We've hosted a number of MCP events, and we'll be doing so for Shatterpoint as well. So hopefully we can see you guys there at some of the events in the future. There'll be a link down in the description below, and if you're looking for a place to get all of your hobbying purchases at a great price, then look no further than Loyalist Games. This is one that I have found to be so useful, especially when you have characters that have got multiple conditions on them and they have a wound token. Strain can be an absolute pain, but if played right with the right combinations, you can take these out of activation attacks and moves that you can do and play it to your advantage. So let's take a look at a quick example. We've got Gar Saxon, Merciless Commander, and we know that he's got the tactic ability Pride of the Mandalore. At the start of this unit's activation, choose another allied Mandalorian character. The chosen character may jump. Well, he's decided that he's going to bestow this ability onto the Mandalorian Super Commandos. And we can see they're not in a great shape at the moment. They've taken that 8 damage, which means that they are currently wounded, but they do have a disarm and a strain on them. Now, what does this mean? Well, when we come to activate these Mandalorian Super Commandos the next time round, we get to remove all that damage, we flip that wounded to an injured, and we get to remove only one special condition. So right now when we activate, we're going to be left with either the strain or the disarm. Neither particularly good for the Mandalorian Super Commandos because they don't want to take extra damage from the strain, and they don't really want to be disarmed because they do love that expertise when they are making attacks. So we choose one of the characters and that character completes the jump. Now the stipulations of what removes a strain condition is pretty much if that character does anything. There are some exceptions to the rule. Tactical abilities, innate abilities, and identity abilities do not count towards it, but making a jump is one of those conditions that will trigger strain. So what happens is we make the jump and we get to get rid of the strain. Very, very useful. We can't take any more damage because we are already wounded, but we do get to get rid of the strain, meaning that when we come to flip them, we're going to have one less special condition, meaning that they can start without any damage and without any conditions at the beginning of their next activation. This is super, super useful, guys. Really, really handy, and being able to control the conditions that are out there. So just take a look at your abilities. Similarly, we can use this to get rid of pin and things like that as well. So just take a look at what abilities you've got, take a look at what tactics and what triggering events you've got, and try and remove some of those special conditions as and when you can, because it's really, really going to help when you get further into a game. This is one that I really, really like, and it feels very, very thematic. Now, what do I mean by this? So leap, by the way, guys, is not a term in the game. And basically what this means is that characters can advance or dash from one piece of terrain to another, as long as that piece of terrain is at the same or lower elevation. Now, obviously you use climb and jump and things like that, but let's take a look at a quick example and see exactly what we mean. So we can see here that we have got Padawan Ahsoka Tano, and she is wanting to get over to Savage Opress. Now, if we just move normally, even if we go right up to the very edge, we're going to be outside of range 2 to make that attack. So what can we do? Well, because even though we're moving over the giant gap in the middle of the terrain, if we place this movement tool so it goes all the way over, making sure that our base fully extends over to the very end, we're going to be within range 2. We don't have to walk around, we can actually walk over. And whilst this was a single piece of terrain, this could very, very easily be from one platform to another. So again, just something that is worth bearing in mind when you are making those advances and dashes. And there we go, guys. They are my 7 rules that you may not or may have even found in the rulebook, or at least are not explained very clearly in the rulebook. Another hunker one is now, but I did want to get this down on a video because I had discussed it in a previous video and it does now counter what I'd said in that one. I would also really recommend, guys, signing up for these Shatterpoint forums. Make sure you keep abreast of the erratas and FAQs, especially on the forums. There's a lot of questions that are answered on there that do change the game ever so slightly. The one for me where you have to complete abilities in the order they are written. That is very different to Marvel Crisis Protocol, and I definitely caught a few people off guard as well. So it's the best place to go. But other than that, we will always try and keep you updated of all the latest rules and erratas and things, and at least anything that changes the game growing quite significantly over here on the Rich Mid Gaming channel. I want to give a shout out to all of our Patreons. Huge thank you to you guys for supporting us and helping us make this content. I also want to give a shout out to Leo for supporting the channel, for sponsoring the channel, and making it that little bit easier for us to purchase all the things that we need to purchase. And there is an offer down in the description below, guys. If you are looking for a local gaming store, there'll be a discount code down in the bottom that you can use. Guys, if you could like the video, it'd really help. As I mentioned, we do have our Patreon up and running, so if you want to support us even further, from as little as £1 a month, you can do so. We also have our third Shatterpoint event happening. There'll be a link down in the description below. You're going to have not much time to sign up for it, but it's going to be a full premiere event, so make sure you go and check that out as well. And as always, guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, may the Force be with you.